Welcome to Garage Sales Unhinged.
Where the characters are as quirky as the finds.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Jake.
Join us as we dive into the wild world of garage sales, yard sales, estate sales, and anywhere secondhand sales are happening.
From bizarre bargains to hilarious haggles.
You won't believe the stories we've got lined up.
Let's get unhinged.
Welcome everyone to this week's episode of Garage Sales Unhinged. I'm super excited to have one of my good friends, Sarah, on this episode with us. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Sarah and I go way back, and I don't know how far back, but it's over 10 years. Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. Now that I think about it, I'm going, wow, we're actually really longtime friends.
Yeah. Decades almost.
Yeah. I mean, it was funny. I was telling my niece of like, yeah, my friend is going to come on the podcast. And I was like, gosh, we must have been friends for 15, 18 years. And she looked at me, she goes, my longest friendship is probably 6 years. And I was like, well, you're 17. So like, yeah, I would imagine so. But yeah, it's amazing of the adult friendships that we just keep going. But Sarah's actually coming on the show to talk about how to find an estate sale company, because that, having heard Sarah's journey through that process, it's horrendous. There's a lot.
It's not something that I think we are exposed to until we need it. And so we don't understand how it's different from a garage sale.
Yeah. Well, because also, and I just want to set the stage for everyone, your parents are still alive. They downsized, they moved into a different venue. And so like you, and I'm sure in just regular estate sale situations where maybe you're clearing out a family member's home that's passed and all that stuff, there's still a lot of emotional ties to things.
Mhm.
And also like you want to make sure you're working with the right, essentially business partner in an estate sale to
Right.
make sure that, your wishes are being met, your parents' wishes are being met, which is a whole other aspect of it.
Right.
And then also like the estate sale company is a business and they got to make money. So
Correct.
okay, Sarah. So like if someone needs to get an estate sale, what do they do? Where do they start?
Well, you do have to take stock of what you have. That was, that seems like an obvious statement, but I'm going to unpack that a little bit.
Mhm.
So because my parents are still alive and we moved stuff into where they live, we moved a lot of things because they moved into a 1,600 square foot apartment,
Wow.
2-bedroom, living room. They don't have a kitchen anymore. They have a little kind of kitchenette situation. So we were able to take a lot more of their things than I really anticipated. And so I can go into a whole different conversation about evaluating facilities for your parents and all of that, and finding moving partners, because it's a very different kind of move. And so in that process, we found someone who's very good at laying out space and was able to take some more of my parents' cherished items than we ever anticipated, including art.
So I'm going to ask you that. So they took a lot more than you anticipated. And you said art, but like, are they taking things that they enjoy, or taking things that they can't let go of, or taking things that they're going to utilize? Like, because my parents also have a lifetime of stuff.
Right.
Like, was it also a conversation with your parents of what do you actually need?
Yes. It was all of what you said, Julie. It's, we started with, what are the things that you love here? What are the things that you love? We all have a few things that we've picked up over time, furniture-wise or whatever, that are just about function. That really, we don't love them, but they work really well in the space for the thing you need it to do. Great example. My parents had this slate top buffet. So think about how heavy that top is, and the wood piece of furniture that goes underneath it to support the slate. It's indestructible because it's slate. So it
Okay.
had always been at an entry as a dumping place
Mhm.
because it couldn't be hurt. I assumed that my parents loved this piece of furniture because it had always had such a prominent place in their home. It was completely functional. It's not like that piece of furniture because it has those doors that you have to push them to open them.
Yeah.
But it's kind of concealed, and so you just look like an idiot, and you're pushing and pushing this piece of furniture. Um, and then because it was older, those didn't work as well as they used to. So then you're fighting with this piece of it's a hoot. Okay. It's just a hoot. And you'd have to move the piece of furniture anytime another piece of furniture was coming in or out of the house.
So this piece of furniture was a family member at this point. It took
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
plenty of space and
At
in the way.
one point, dad put those movers that you see like on the infomercials,
The sliding
the
pad
sliding
thing.
pad things, and he just left them on he was like, I don't want to have to lift this thing to do this again if we need to move this piece of furniture. Anyway, so I assumed because of the prominent place that this piece of furniture had that there was importance. And so I kept saying, well, what about the slate top table? And they finally go, we hate that thing. We're not taking that into this next chapter. And I
Is there
think,
one that they did take that you're like, "Why? Why are you taking that?"
oh, many things,
Okay. There wasn't one. There was many.
many things. But that's because it's not my stuff.
Right.
I don't have an attachment to that thing.
Yeah.
Um, and a good example is a broken music box. So my mom had collected small collection. Okay, this was not a giant collection. A small collection of music boxes. Some were Christmas and then some weren't.
Mhm.
One of them was a Wizard of Oz, Scarecrow, Jack in the Box. So he pops up at some point. It's broken. You can't
Yeah.
put it back down. You fight it. You try to put it down. Everybody in the family forgets that it's broken. Everybody tries to put it down. It's just a running joke. It's like, yeah, sure, you try and fix it. Anyway, we moved it because it was a memory of when
Yeah.
we got it at the mall at the Riverwalk in San Antonio. I can tell you exactly where we procured it, right?
Yeah.
It sparks that memory. It's a great trip. We had a good time. It's New Year's. Got to stay in a penthouse, type
Fancy.
thing and see the fireworks, a little kid. So, it's bedtime. I'm in my pajamas with my dolphin from SeaWorld.
Little did you know you'd be keeping this Jack in the Box thing
Exactly.
that's now broken.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, sure. Absolutely. But it's because it's their stuff and not mine.
Yeah. So, okay, so and I know you talked to several estate sale companies,
Good. Yeah.
and it sounded like all of them were saying, "Have you taken stock? Have you taken inventory?" And that is really it's on your responsibility to get it done. It's not like they come in and start doing that for you.
Correct. Until you have moved.
Right.
And there are a couple of big learning moments that I had in this process. And one is estate sale companies get booked months in advance. They leverage weekends, obviously. There's only so many weekends in a year.
Mhm.
Um, there's a whole setup process for them to go through everything, inventory it, price it, research it, photograph, right? There's a whole process. So a weekend is really a very active 2-week prep for that weekend.
Yeah.
And so depending on their staff size, they take on different volumes. So you need to book them way in advance, but it's difficult to book them until you know exactly what you're going to have if the people for whom you're having the estate sale are just moving to another place, moving to
Right.
another chapter of their life, right?
Yeah.
Versus, a death or the scenario where, somebody says, hey, we're retiring and we bought a house in Santa Fe and we're not taking any of this with us.
Yeah, I know a couple people have done that.
Absolutely. They want a whole different point of view in that house.
Yep.
Are you planning a garage sale, yard sale, or estate sale and need some help? Look no further than Garage Sale Supply. They provide top-notch resources and expert advice to help you host the perfect sale. From pricing tips to promotional strategies, they've got you covered. Visit garagesalesupply.com and make your next sale a success.
So until you know what you have, you can't sell yourself to estate sale companies. Because when I did the video walkthrough of the quality of the pieces and things like that that were in their home for these companies to try to get on their schedule, they were all raising their hands. They loved it because of the antiques my parents had. They've collected a lot of Asian antiques over time, so they have a point of view as well, which is a helpful thing for estate sales to have some sort of point of view. But then once I showed them what was left, they said, you don't have enough for an estate sale.
Wow.
So then I'm in the scenario of, do I try to sell the few pieces of furniture which are left, which most estate sale companies don't actually care about furniture.
Oh, what do they care? Because I always thought that was their bread and butter. So what do they actually want?
Rugs, art, fine dishes, crystal, etc. And then in this case, the home that they're moving out of is being demolished. And so they sold the air conditioners. They sold the garage door opener. They sold, fans and
Yeah.
all kinds of things.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even think about like the actual, I say,
Chandeliers.
yeah, furnishings of the house, home decor type things.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
And the home that they've sold, it was built initially in 1910. It was 1,000 square feet, and then they came in and did a large addition, a 3,000 square foot addition. But they kept original hardwood floors. They kept the glass doorknobs. They kept a number of things, which for some salvage yards where builders go looking for those kinds of things, sometimes you can sell floors for that. Now, the builder who is demolishing it that bought it wanted those things, so we didn't sell those things.
Gotcha.
Because they saw value for themselves in those items. But the estate sale, depending on what's happening to the house as well, can look very different, and who they market it to. So they have a whole contact list of builders when a house is going to be demolished. The reason we ended up getting to do an estate sale is because the house was being demolished. Another house that they had signed a contract with, somehow in the closing, everything got moved up by a month.
Oh, wow.
Happened to be geographically nearby. And if your house is getting demolished, it doesn't matter how many holes they put in walls to hang up art, to display things, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's being sold for somebody to move in, as we all know, you've got to have the walls patched, you've got to have, house in good standing.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting to have an estate sale because we were quite worried about the whole thing because it was getting demolished. And so they could move in all the stuff. And if they dinged stuff up, it didn't matter.
Yeah. So, because I remember whenever this came about, you and I were actually together in another state. And you were so excited about this because the other estate sale, their house was getting demolished before your parents' house. And so everything had to move from that house into your parents' house. But then that estate sale event was going to have a lot more options and a lot more eyeballs coming through because that estate sale company essentially had more inventory in one spot instead of trying to figure out how to get multiple people into different spaces.
Correct. And so one of the things your original question was, how do you find a company? So if we had not moved all of those beautiful antiques and things like that, then companies who run estate sales that also are consignment for antiques were very interested in us
Okay.
because whatever they didn't sell would work beautifully in their consignment business.
So did you know that they had a consignment business whenever you started talking to the estate sale companies?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So the ones with either consignment businesses or storefronts of some kind are typically more turnkey for
Okay.
you for
Yeah.
that reason, because they may see a piece in your home or a dish set in your home, and they know that that thing is going to move at their storefront faster and for more
Mhm.
than at an estate sale.
Okay,
They
so I
also
do
understand pricing.
yeah. That's the other thing of, like, especially if you like, if your parents have Asian antiques, you wanna go with a company that understands that market and that buyer versus someone who maybe is really into American folk art.
Correct.
It's 2 different buyers, 2 different markets.
Absolutely.
So, I have a big question for you real quick.
Okay.
What if someone needs to get an estate sale company? Did you just search for it on the internet? Where did you start the process?
So I have a neighborhood Facebook group. Um, it's for moms,
Mhm.
and you ask for resources, and you can search in those groups. And so I first did a search before I did a post. The post was about 4 or 5 years old, so I commented to see if anybody had anything to add. My parents loved estate sales, and so I already knew of a few companies,
Mhm.
and some of those companies were the ones that were recommended. Additionally, the moving company that we used gave us references
Oh, nice.
for estate sale companies because their business is helping people downsize.
Yeah.
So they're accustomed to this. Um, so that was really how we got the list, so to
Yeah.
speak. And then, to be honest with you, that market is a really friendly market. You call them, you talk to them, you send them the videos of your home and what's left and
Mhm.
all of that. One of them said, I don't have anything available for 3 months. I overheard that so and so, who I really like and trust, one just fell through. You might call and see if they've already scheduled that weekend. So they were very giving as well. They didn't just give me like a list of 20. They said, these are the 3 that I trust the most.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it started with, asking basically my peer group, has
Yeah.
anybody dealt with this? And in that group, when I say peer, age-wise, you can have a 65-year-old and a 26-year-old.
Right.
Your qualifier is that you've had a child and you live in that area.
Right.
So some of them had gone through that, right? So that was helpful. And then again, resources for the people who are in that all the time, whether it was the estate sale people giving me references or it was the mover giving me references.
Sorry, I gotta let our audience know. So Sarah and I can see each other. This podcast is only audio, but as she was finishing up her sentence, I just see a cattail come up.
Yeah.
So I'm always also you have is that a Lego cat behind you on the
It
ledge?
is. Mhm. Yes.
Okay, so I saw that one. I was like, oh, that's not one of her cats, but like it's sitting there. It's a Lego cat, but
Yeah.
then real cat showed up and presented its tail to me. So
Yes.
this is exciting times.
Yes, you have another podcast interviewing here.
Oh, that's awesome. What is
Oh,
your pet's name?
This cat is Garbanzo. We call him Bonzo.
Love it.
Yes, and his sister is Pinto. So they are the beans.
Oh, well, I mean, they do have cute toe beans. So,
They
and
do.
also
They do.
garbanzo is the color of a garbanzo bean. It's a pretty
Yes.
tabby. So,
Yes, he is an orange, big old orange, dumb cat.
he's living his best life.
He is living his best life.
Um, okay, so One of the things you said was, the moving companies have recommendations as well, and that's such a smart angle as well, like, for people that are trying to find this resource. Yeah, the moving companies move for the estate sale companies too, and they're gonna
Yeah,
recommend the people that work well with them. Um,
absolutely.
so that's an interesting angle, I hadn't thought about that.
Mhm. One of the other things, because I was, of course, thinking about the fact that we were going to be talking, and you just never know what Julie's going to ask.
That's what makes life fun.
It does. But I was reflecting on, what is the difference between an estate sale and a garage sale
Yeah.
for people that need to go through that? And the fundamental difference is it is the end of a chapter, positive or negative, right? It's
Yeah.
an end of a chapter. And, a garage sale, you might have one because you've finished the chapter of having small children. And so
Mhm.
you're getting rid, or you're renovating. And, there's things that you're ready to let go of because they're not going to have a space for it, but they're micro.
Right.
It isn't the end of your forever home, right?
Right.
Um, and you said something earlier about, in terms of what they took and what they didn't take and sort of the emotional component of it. And one of the things I'm grateful for that I learned in the estate sale process is that you pick the company and you are out.
Oh, that's it.
You are done. They don't want you coming by to help with anything. They, communicate great with you. Hey, we've finished. Everything's in the house now. We're priced. Feel really good about it. Tomorrow's photography day. If you want to go to our website, they will be up on this day. Not, we're going to send you photos of your home looking really weird.
Right. Well, and I mean, so, like, part of me's going, "Oh, man, that's so nice to know that someone else takes it, runs with it, does what they need to do." But also on the other side of it is like, "That was my parents' stuff," or "That's my stuff," and, like, but also, clearly they know, "Don't come back because 'cause you're just gonna throw things for a loop because 'cause you're gonna be like, 'Oh, maybe I do wanna keep this thing.'"
Right.
Or, "Oh, it should be you should be asking for more," whatever it may be.
So while I am not hugely sentimental as an individual, so I'm, not like everyone. Plus, we had taken so many wonderful things
Right.
to where my parents are right now. And what was left felt very fragmented or without purpose. Like a good thing is their dining room set.
Mhm.
Well, it doesn't really fit in my space. It doesn't fit in my sister's space. And my parents don't need a dining room because they're not cooking.
Right.
We don't need that anymore. Right. So I was very much, when we were finding the estate sale companies and all of that, able to detach, I guess, from what was left. But when they basically took over the house, that was when the finality of the end of this chapter really happened, you know?
Yeah.
Because it was the first time we're handing it over to somebody else in
Right.
a way. And so that was a very interesting and liberating at the same time. Interesting and liberating. The other thing that happens with estate sales that you probably don't think about with garage sales in the same way, because you just don't have the same quantity, as whatever's left, what are you going to do with it? Your option, of course, is you take it to a dumpster, you can have a dumpster delivered, you can, all those things. Donations.
Mhm.
Well, friends, donation organizations and their trucks get booked up
Yeah.
at least a month in advance. And estate sale companies have relationships with those organizations, and they will send out, here's what's left from this estate sale. And I'm just picking a day of the week. I don't know that this is real. So every Thursday, those trucks go pick up stuff from estate sales. They don't do pickups around town. That's what they do. Because if the Veterans Association needs a dining room table, and I don't know that it went there and it wasn't sold, I have no idea where it went, and I don't want to know where it went. Right? But say it wasn't sold and they had somebody that needed a dining room table, then the Veterans Association comes and picks it up.
Yeah. So there's an estate sale company that I like to, they have a store.
Mhm.
So I like to go to their store, fun stuff, great furniture pieces. Man, I just like looking at other people's loved items, right?
Right.
Um, and they actually have several items in their store that it did not sell at an estate sale. So that family, not consignment, just gave it to them
Yep.
and they brought it to their store and it sits there collecting dust until somebody wants to purchase it. And
Uh-huh.
things move. People
Things
purchase.
move. Yeah, they sure do.
Also, for people that don't know, if you end up going to a estate sale shop, you can haggle there. Whatever the price is on the thing, you can still haggle. So, but yeah, it's interesting. I have donated furniture before to a women's shelter. And yes, you are correct. Trying to schedule them to come pick it up.
Yep.
You're looking at weeks in advance. So if you're like, oh, I need to get rid of this by Friday, nope, you're out of luck. You need to go get your own truck and move it.
And you don't know what you're going to have left. So
Right.
you can't call and say, I've got a bed frame, because you don't know if you're going to have a bed frame.
Well, okay. So, okay. And you don't have to tell me the specifics of your situation, but just to give our listeners an idea, like, what do you do at the contract terms for like how much the estate sale company makes versus how much your parents make? Like, oh, what is that money split? Like, how, and do you negotiate that?
It is a pretty set standard, to be honest with you. So in terms of what I outlined, where, they came in and did any cleaning that needed to be done, if you've been to estate sales, you've probably seen like in the kitchen, they'll take the cabinet doors off
Right.
so that they can display, all of it. Pricing, the research, the photographs, the advertising, the outreach, again, to builders, in this case, for the building materials that people might want. And then the donation trucks, they have the set times to meet anybody who needed to schedule a pickup of larger things, right? That they purchased furniture or something that didn't fit in their car. If you do all of that, you're looking at 40%.
Yeah.
You're taking 40%. And it's a pretty standard number when they're doing all that turnkey stuff.
Yeah. It's also like, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It's so much work. And so, again, I made the choice. Obviously, I saw what was left of our things because we went through them and sorted and did the videos and all of that. I did not go in once the other family stuff was brought in there. I thought that'd be a little weird.
Right.
Somebody else's stuff and our stuff all at the same time. Plus, like I said, they take the cabinet doors. It turns into display.
Right. It
And
turns into a warehouse at that point.
Exactly. And I also find dolls creepy. And apparently there were dolls there.
Okay. New haunted house idea for any estate sale company listening.
Right.
Do an estate sale, put a bunch of creepy shit in there during Halloween season,
Right.
and then sell tickets to let people come through your estate sale with the opportunity to buy stuff.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. No kidding.
Uh,
So I didn't.
sorry. Now my head's going like, what's that Halloween? Is it the Halloween costume store that shows up everywhere?
Spirit.
What is it?
Spirit.
Yes. Spirit needs to get into estate sales and they can do the whole thing.
No kidding. Or they can go in, they can partner with like builders that buy properties and are going to either remodel them or knock them down. And they should make money for a couple weeks with a haunted house in there.
I'm just imagining like Spirit showing up in my residential neighborhood of like, not only have they taken over the old Walgreens, but now they're taking over Sharon's old house. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh shoot, I lost my train of thought there.
Sorry.
Oh, I remember. It
Which
was I didn't go in when all the stuff was there, and then I went in yesterday, so the house closed today.
Mhm.
So I went in yesterday to say goodbye, and it was remarkable. There was nothing in it. It was great,
Yeah.
and I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do any of it.
And that's so nice of, helping your parents out with this next chapter of their life. You still had a house with stuff in it, and to be able to give the reins to somebody else that's a pro at it and they just take care of everything,
Yeah,
and you're still meeting deadlines, you're still meeting like, "Hey, we gotta get everything out by this day." Yep, done.
exactly.
That is such a I'm breathing as a sigh of relief for you.
Yeah. Well,
That
and when we didn't know if we were going to be able to do an estate sale, to be honest with you, I was sitting there going, "Oh my gosh." And now it's not really garage sale, but we could try that
right,
because some of the stuff is, I mean, it's valuable stuff. So do I start shopping this to consignment? I was started getting really overwhelmed. Um, and then there's the question also of if we're finished with it, how much money do we really want to make
right.
from it?
Yeah,
Um, so obviously there's a lot of that sort of range of emotions and how much effort you want to put into something and what it means to you. And when you're looking around, a great example, one of the estate sale ladies, she was like, just don't donate the spode.
the
And
what?
I said spode. So
What is that?
spode is a kind of china. And here in the US, we typically see spode more as their Christmas china. You've
Okay.
probably seen it in homes. Um, and a lot of the spode my parents own and that I own is stuff they picked up at estate sales.
Mhm.
And it's just one of those things that usually sells well.
Yeah.
Apparently, desert rose doesn't sell very well anymore. My grandmother had desert rose. There's a lot of desert rose on the market. But, so I've got the estate sale lady. So I'm like, well, do you want to buy the spode? She said, well, if you don't find anybody to buy the spode, I'll buy the spode. I'm going, oh my God, I got to piecemeal this sucker.
Yeah.
It sounds like a nightmare.
Well, and it is one of those things whenever you had large pieces of furniture like a dining table, dining chairs, all that stuff, the slate entry table. I've gone, yes, you could work with consignment stores to do that, but it's also now it's on you to schedule it to get it from point A to point B. It's a lot.
And people don't show up.
Yeah.
They want to reschedule. And there's no internet there anymore.
Yeah.
I can't sit there and work. And by
Yeah.
the way, we're down to like one chair, right? We're just sitting on a hardwood floor.
It is the most epic game of musical chairs ever.
Exactly. And I have the one left at the end.
Yeah, right. Now it's like, okay, now I'm picturing the haunted house with a musical chair and like, just get me out of here. Sorry. Estate sales are not creepy, folks. Don't take what I'm saying
Oh
as
no.
creepy.
No, in fact, I mean, they changed out light bulbs for bright lighting in certain places. I mean, these people stage to sell things. They know the science behind if we put this here, this is what's going to happen. Um, because you're setting, like you said, you're setting up a home to be a warehouse, but not really
Yeah.
it becomes a store. And how do people like to shop? And with how that house is oriented too, we all know the kitchens that you get trapped in because of the way that they're designed.
Yep.
And so, but they've got to somehow use that kitchen
Yeah.
to sell things. So,
Yeah. It's, I went to an estate sale one time and I've talked about this before on the show where, there's actually music out there that is music to shop by.
oh,
And it's an upbeat, playlist, and it's not just, like, one song or one playlist, but there's different playlists out there that, um, definitely retail uses it. If you go into any mall or Target or grocery store, they have background music playing to encourage you to buy and to purchase and to do all that stuff. And one day I went into 2 different estate sales. One didn't have that ambiance or anything like that. The other one did. And the one that was playing the ambiance, they did change out the lighting. They positioned the whole house to be very shopper friendly. They were making bank and there was a lot of people there and I went early and they still had quite a few things left. This was the estate sale that they had a women's Armani suit and I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Wow.
I know. I was like, "I wish I was that size. I'd buy it," but it looked pretty up on the hanger.
Well, you mentioned even that you follow an estate sale company.
Yeah.
And that is for people who love estate sales, they follow these people. I mean, my parents did. They
Yeah.
had a couple because they have a point of view. They will, some won't take antiques. They don't want to mess with it.
Mhm.
Some don't care about crystal. Some of them love it.
Right.
And again, it's do they have a consignment store? Do they have a booth in an antique mall? Do they have what are the other ways that they sell stuff?
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, even though we didn't have any jewelry, the company that we went with is known for their consignment jewelry in addition to other things.
Oh, nice.
So their market where they sit is not far from my parents' home in terms of where it sits in the greater fabric of the city.
Yeah.
Affluent, right? People who are looking for fine jewelry, antique jewelry are following them. So they're going to like the kinds of things.
It's such a good question to ask at estate sale companies that people may be shopping around and asking them how big their list is of who they market to and how many of those are like collectors or builders or whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Because again, you do want to go with a company that has a good reputation that people want to see what's the next sale they have coming up
Right.
because there's a greater likelihood that they will sell more stuff if they're promoting it to a group of people that already trust them.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we only have about a minute left. So, any final tidbits or advice for people that may be looking for an estate sale company?
I think you wrapped it up pretty nicely, Julie. It's understand that to a certain extent, they're in the driver's seat about who they choose and who they don't choose to work with.
Hmm.
So you're going to have to market yourself to them just as much as you're looking for them.
Yeah.
And when you're marketing what you have, what's either the abundant theme of what you have,
Hmm.
or is it about a particular stage of life? Is it about, what is it in terms of the stuff that you have to offer them? And take a look how they're connected to their other businesses. Again, if they have a whole bunch of stalls in antique malls, then they like to collect the little clocks and the fine little crystal things, or do they collect funky 1950s things?
Yeah.
What is it that they collect? And align yourself, just like anytime you've got to position yourself in terms of marketing. What is their point of view? Is it varied? That's probably really good if it is.
Hmm.
Or is it really specific and you match that specificity?
I love it.
Yeah. So you've got to market yourself. And I don't think I understood that part.
Yeah. Well, good words of advice. Sarah, thanks so much for coming on the podcast and sharing your experience with listeners. And if any listeners are out there and going, oh my gosh, I need to find an estate sale, use Sarah's words of advice to make the process a little bit easier for you.
Mhm.
Cool.
And let
Thanks,
them do the
Sarah.
work, Julie. And let them do the work.
Yeah, let them do the work. Hire them and then step away.
Right.
Well, thank you, Sarah, so much for coming on the show. And everyone, thanks for listening. We will see you next week. Bye.